Okay, guys, so there is a couple of things I want to talk about in regards to upcoming EZAs and super EZAs. There are very interesting things in the data, and we did mention this post by Proton in other videos, but that was more so for the obvious things, which, again, Proton did state a very obvious TUR EZA and a very possible LR EZA looks to be coming next, and based off of that, we are very reasonably expecting this Int Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta to get an Extreme Z Awakening, and then the Super Saiyan Blue Trunks, or Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta and Trunks, my bad, should also get an Extreme Z Awakening. They're both featured on the Dokkan Festival banners, and they're definitely in line to get their Extreme Z Awakenings too, so that is very exciting, but they're not actually the focus of this video. I'm sure you could see by the thumbnail and whatnot. What we're focusing on is this next line here. So the only thing that explains the remaining ratio of IDs would be either another LR EZA or 3 Super EZAs. So it could be either one of those two. I'm personally thinking 3 Super EZAs make more sense, but they could throw out just like LR Super 17 maybe could get an EZA, but I'm not thinking that's going to be the case. I feel like 3 Super EZAs fits the best to me. Is LR Super 17 on Omega's full leader skill actually? Because I don't, is he's on Battle Fate, right? I think so. Again, this is me getting off topic here, but I'm pretty sure 17 is on Battle Fate. Yeah, so he does fit Omega's full leader skill. So I mean, again, he could get an awakening. I just don't know if that would be what happens, but there's also a new LR and TUR upcoming. That could mean many things. I did talk about this yet in yesterday's video, though. The LR is very much hinted in the data at being a summonable LR based off of what awakening medals they look like they're going to be requiring, right? And that was in yesterday's video on the 29th US time, I guess, anyways, where we talked about potential of like a part 3 LR / part EXLR, whatever they want to call it. And I just want to have people again have their minds open that it is a possibility. I think that we'll have to wait and see, but we know that a new summonable LR should be coming, in my opinion, relatively soon. It could be Tanabata, but who knows, right? Because we don't know if Tanabata is going to drop at the end of August or at the end of September. It's not 100% concrete. Even with the schedule they gave us, we don't know for sure. But anyways, again, that is not the focus. The focus is Super EZAs. So I did go ahead and ask Twitter about these two characters. So if these two characters are EZA, I asked, what would you like to see added to their new kit? And actually, I also asked Twitter. Let me bring up the, not Twitter, the YouTube post that I made. Alright, so I have the YouTube post pulled up as well, but let's talk about these two. So I feel like people might not be as excited for them as like Vegito Blue and Rose were, but I think these could be really interesting awakenings that have a lot of potential to being very strong. Now, when we take a look here at the Future Saga category, I would say it would be nice for Goku Black's team to get 1 or 2 additional options here. The clones are all very good. Goku Black AGL is very good. I do like Fusion Zamasu. And if we take a look at super bosses, there are some additional options you may be able to run. Int hits here, Broly, Chi-Lai, and Lemo, but I truly think another character would just always benefit this team. And in Fusion Zamasu is good, but it wouldn't hurt us to have another Fusion Zamasu named character. It's not like you're gonna be running them like in the same rotation together, things like that. And the Omega Shenron team works very good, even though there's 3 or 4 Omega Shenrons. I think they can make things work very easily with the Tech Fusion Zamasu EZA. And again, if we take a look here, they are some of the older characters at this point without Super Extreme Z Awakenings. If we go into and if we assume that they're going by like EZA date, I mean, again, Inchinamba got a Super EZA. Like, who's characters that we're waiting for Super EZAs? Running on Tech Golden Frieza, Physical Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, STR Sal, but then again, Fusion Zamasu right here. Solar Hope Trunks is right here. And then we see, you know, into blue Vegeta is also right there. Now, I will talk about this guy in a separate video because one thing that we do need to point out is that Super EZAs can also mean LR Super EZAs, because how this ID chart works is that it's awakening steps. So, for example, Super EZA is only one awakening step. I mean, we could see here the Super Saiyan 4 Goku, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, and STR Omega Shenron. They all take only one place in this chart. That is because it is one awakening step, so one for each of these three characters. So like an LR could definitely be an option here, but I feel like these two just make a lot of sense. We don't have like just a Trunks character represented in here. I mean, we have the Father Son Gallic Gun, and I'm assuming Vegeta and Trunks will ECA, but I think just having another Trunks card in the like circle of like the Future Saga team would make a lot of sense, especially because we do know that the Blue Goku and Vegeta, at least the Vegeta side of the card, does support Trunks characters for 80% attack and defense. So that is going to be pretty massive, and you want to make sure that again, with the Trunks character around, like, they'll be able to benefit from this support buff. And of course, it would be a Future Saga Trunks, which would be just Future Trunks specifically, not like Kid Trunks or anything like that, right? So that's going to be very nice. When it comes to this guy, I think he'll be good because we've usually seen nuke type characters, or characters who like make their own orbs and then like get a bunch of attack and defense per orb, be very powerful. We could point out to two characters that Super EZA'd during the anniversary. That is Int Buu Ultimate Gohan and then Tech Perfect Cell. These two are still good right now. Buuhan is really, really good right now in like the Goku Black and Zamasu fights. I would say he's probably quite usable even in the... you could probably get away with this guy in the Gogeta fight. Not Omega, the physical Omega with the AoEs, but this guy is still very usable right now, very good. Tech Cell, I haven't tried him. I assume he should also be really good in the Gogeta fight. I just haven't used him just yet. He is he on Omega Shenron's team? He is actually on Omega. No, wait. Omega Shenron doesn't lead Worldwide Chaos. I actually don't think he's on Omega's team. Very, very sad. Yeah, it would be really nice if he was actually on Omega Shenron's team, but Tech Cell is actually not on Power Absorption because he got rid of Android 18. Even though he does have 17 absorbed, I think it's a bit silly, but he does not have Power Absorption, unfortunately. And of course, he's also not on the what's the other team? Inhuman Deeds, because he doesn't kill an ally. So that does suck for this Tech Perfect Cell, but I think there's a setup you could probably find him in, and I think in that Gogeta fight he's going to be really good. But unfortunately, he doesn't want a superclass enemy specifically, so the Goku Black and Zamasu fight, even though he has a debuff and extra reduction, it won't matter there, and he'll be hurt really, really badly there. So that's something to keep in mind. But these two were incredible during the 10th anniversary as well. I could see this character taking that kind of aspect where he gets, even he can have like 200, 300% start of turn attack and defense. He can get Rainbow Orb changing. Realm of Gods category enemies, he does have Rainbow Orb changing. So again, the Goku Black Zamasu fight is something that does actually count against. So I could see this guy being really good there. He has super effective against all types with 7 or more key spheres obtained. They could also take inspiration from the Tech Sin Shenron Subby's Awakening. This guy's really good as well with his orb changing, but imagine he just does what this guy does essentially, where early on he has a bunch of extra damage reduction, then depending on the amount of key spheres he collects, he will get more damage reduction and critical hit chance. Maybe he has additional super built in somewhere. His super attack effect is just okay, but that would also allow this character to be a slot 1 character and provide this 30% attack buff. And it would be nice for this guy to be a slot 1 character if we consider the fact that the Vegeta side of the S tier Blue Goku and Vegeta, they're a slot 3. well as the Blue Goku slot 1 and 2. So you will essentially be losing a slot 1 character if you want to give this guy a lot of support. So him having the ability to potentially sit in slot 1 would be really good. And then again, against Realm of God's enemy, he'll be very powerful as well. I mean, even if he does have a debuff like this, Shenron does have a 20% attack and defense debuff, I think that would be really good for when this guy would eventually attack the Goku Black fight. But who knows? I think this is really just going off the base details. They could change so much about this character, but I'm actually quite excited for this guy. I do think that he'll be very good, and I'm really excited. I mean, again, Vegeta and Trunks right here, they share a lot of links too, so that could be really good for us. So we have to wait and see. Now again, this Tech Fusion Zamasu could also be very interesting for the Goku Black team. I think having another character just providing defensive support will just be a really good addition. These villain teams usually have so much support going around, and imagine this guy giving up like that much support as well would be really nice. I think what this guy could do for the Goku Black and Zamasu team is, if they allow him to give damage reduction support, I feel like a lot of things would make sense, especially with this Fusion Zamasu and STR Rose. They're like the Goku Black and Zamasu are very tanky, but against some of the really hardest hitting super attacks, they can struggle a little bit and will take a lot of damage, if not just die. So I'm thinking a character that provides damage reduction support besides this Zamasu card here. Like, this guy does give 10% damage reduction, but imagine this character gives Realm of God's extreme class characters 10% damage reduction, then it's like 50% attack and defense. That would be very good. Or he gives just extreme class allies 50% attack and defense, then Realm of God's extreme class characters would get 10% damage reduction. I think that would be huge. They could even make it super bosses just to fit this team, but this team for the most part is going to be the, let me actually change this because the animation is playing really fast. This team is going to be mostly just the Goku Black and Zamasu type team. But again, this would help the Infusion Zamasu tank better. This would be super helpful for the clone Goku Black characters. Again, we can probably go over here. But like, for example, the physical clone has damage reduction. The tech clone has damage reduction. Like, there's a lot of damage reduction going around with this team. So adding a damage reduction support character would be very nice. It would help the AGO Goku Black take attacks a little better if he does have to be in slot 1. That first hit could be a little devastating, but he would shoot up to 80% damage reduction, which would be insanely powerful. So I think that would be something really interesting. This needs to change to all enemies, or this one right here needs to change to all enemies, because there's not really a tough superclass enemy that can be debuffed, unlike the Goku Black Zamasu fight. So this character will be type of disadvantage against these Goku Black. So being able to lower that Goku Black's attack would be useful to offset that, because we don't know if this character will get any guard ability or anything like that. So we truly need to wait and see. But yeah, this character feels like he is going to be designed as a support character in a very heavy way. He's already a supporting character. I could see him, again, like Ajo Rose is like a supporting character, but he also feels more suited to be able to tank. I could see this guy being like the way where he's supporting, but then also more suited to being a damage dealer, like the damage dealer variant of this guy, where again, this guy does decent damage, but it's nothing crazy. He's extremely tanky. I can see this character being very decent tanking wise, maybe not eating the hardest hitting supers in the game, but they also just make him do like 50 million attack stats or something like that. Could be really interesting. And again, I'm excited if these two would get their Super EZA. I think that they would be really good additions, and this guy could be a really nice final addition to the Goku Black Zamasu team. And in the future, we know that that Goku Black and Zamasu team will continue to get additional characters. I mean, if we take a look back here, there is the STR Rose Goku Black, there is the Tech Goku Black and Zamasu LR. Next year, or even in I mean, next year we could see this LR Tech Fusion Zamasu get an Extreme Z Awakening. There's lots of potential things that can happen. So again, we have to wait and see. Again, super bosses could also get a lot of extra options too, besides like just Fusion Zamasu characters. But I think this guy would be a really helpful character to EZA right now. So without further ado, let's go ahead and read into some of the replies here. We'll read some of the actually, let's read the YouTube replies first. Let's see this, and then we'll read some of the Twitter ones after. On the video there. If HP is under 50%, Zamasu will cry and Zena will appear, wiping me out on the boss. I mean, that would suck. Zamasu needs a name change before anything else. I agree, but unfortunately, they're not gonna change this guy's name, as sad as it is. If there's an enemy named Trunks, Fusion Zamasu turns into Infinite Zamasu and wins the event. I mean, there's no really hard Trunks boss right now, so I think that's fair. Zamasu superclass allies attack and defense minus 50% for 2 turns. I mean, look, if they made him top 10 character in the game, but he debuffs superclass allies by 50%, I would not care. I think, like, if they don't let him in the kitchen, I wouldn't care about this. If he did this, but then he's like busted, like beyond belief on an extreme class team, I actually, yeah, sure, do that. Why not, right? If he has like guard and 80% damage reduction and does like 70 mil super attacks and supports like 50% to a super class, and then he does like 5 super attacks. For Zamasu, damage reduction with guard, building up extra defense per each super. Getting tired of slot 2, slot 3 characters. We need more slot 1 characters. Yeah, again, I think a slot 1 character added to this team will also, like, it'd be nice. I would say, because a lot of the characters on the future slot or the super bosses team are more so dodge based characters or maybe a little finicky. I think in terms of slot 1 on this team, there's actually a lot of options. There is the AGO Goku Black if you have to. He could be around there. There is the AGO Clone Goku Black. The LR STR Goku Black here. Broly, Chilai, and Lemo. Again, there's a lot of orb changers if you have the clones around. Infusion Zamasu is another rainbow orb changer. But, like, again, this guy's like kind of dodge reliant. We have the tech clone that can lower Goku Black's attack. Could make things easier for like this guy to sit in the first slot. But it is like, I think having another tank type character instead of a dodge based character would be good just for the future of the team. And again, just having another option to use will always be very useful, because usually a character, if they're good in slot 1, they will also be good in slot 2 or slot 3. The only real exception to that is this STR Super Saiyan 4 Goku, which this guy's incredible anyways. This guy's very good. I would say he might be the best Dokkan Festival TUR character right now in terms of like the hardest fights. This guy might be the best Dokkan Festival TUR character. And, you know, I would say he would be the best TUR character, but this Sin Shenron is also extremely broken. Really good character. So, yeah. Again, slot 1 character, I'll take that for sure. You would have them be LR Vegeta and Trunks. You want them to be the most busted EZA. Okay. They can throw in a counter if they feel like it. I don't think they would give EZAs counters or super EZAs like a new counter animation. Unfortunately, that won't really be a thing. Maybe they'll get extra buffs when receiving a super attack. Could be something that could happen. Just like the LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. This is why you haven't spent the last 60 stones of the free stones. You have a copy of each, but you want to get dupes of any units that might surprise EZA. And yeah, someone's bringing up the Int Blue Vegeta. The Int Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta is another card that I think could get an Extreme Z Awakening. But the reason why I haven't brought him up is because I'm going to, again, make a separate video talking about the Tech Goku Black and Zamasu and this Int Blue Vegeta in one video. I'm just putting these two together just because they pair together better than kind of separating the two. I guess I could have had Trunks and Vegeta and then Zamasu and Vegeta, but I decided to split them the way I did just because off a whim, right? 50% damage reduction support Trunks for hybrids or future. 50% damage reduction support, that would not happen. Then Zamasu World Warcraft from Gods get 2 key, 30% attack and defense, and then he has guard and dodge. Guard and damage reduction. So Trunks, 20% reduction and all allies 10% defense per Rainbow Key Sphere. So like, again, if this guy would get through Rainbow Key Spheres, he'd be providing 30% support and have 60% damage reduction. I think that'd be good. Like, if Trunks... What if he starts off with an extra 20% damage reduction on turn 1, and then he gets this as well? That could be interesting. Because you're not usually going to be getting 5 Rainbow Key Spheres anyways. Not that it can't happen, but yeah. Maybe 20% would be higher. Maybe they would cap it, I think, at 3 orbs. And then, like, in the first turn, Trunks has an extra 20% reduction. So turn 1, you get up 80% damage reduction until he starts building up. That could be really good. Zamasu, remove the super class ally debuff. Stat raise when all allies are extreme class. And then Realm of Gods category allies, 10% reduction in critical hit chance. Yeah, a damage reduction support for Zamasu, I think, would be super good for the Goku Black team. Excuse me, for the Goku Black team here. Let's take a look at some of the Twitter comments here, and then we'll kind of wrap things up very soon. Are there any quotes here? 10% attack and defense for 3 turns. Yeah, sure. Zamasu, a defensive menace with support that isn't restricted to super bosses. Makes sense. Trunks, you want Trunks to be a lot of support here. I feel like support might not be needed for that team. Zamasu, a ton of additionals, full on Unga Booga with crits and damage. Then, of course, both being defensively viable enough to run. I mean, if they make Zamasu a really heavy damage unit, I kind of feel like that's not what the team needs. Because we have a good amount of damage on the Goku Black and Zamasu team. I mean, this active skill... where is... This active skill does a lot of damage. Like, there's... It basically could one-shot any single boss. So I'm not really seeing a reason for us to get like another huge damage dealer. Zamasu also does a ton of damage. Like, we have pretty good damage across the team. I wouldn't necessarily say no to him being a damage focused, but being like a mainly damage dealing character without potential support, I'm not sure if I would really want that. Again, I'm gonna just skip past the silly ones. So Trunks makes a full field of rainbow orbs every turn, and then Zamasu takes away all these stats from superclass. Sure. So here's concepts from Rody here. 200% attack and defense, S tier to int, and then a high chance of AGL to int on top of that. 50% damage reduction and super effective. 20% reduction before receiving an attack, and then 30% attack and defense per key sphere obtained. Then for every superclass ally in the team, 70% attack when attacking. That's quite a bit, especially with the orb changing, but I assume he probably just won't have any additionals. Then 10% attack and defense per key sphere obtained, which is... For every superclass ally in the team, 10%. That seems a bit busted, but... When there's a Realm of Gods, enemy tech is changed to rainbow key spheres. With 3 or more key spheres obtained, attacks guaranteed to hit. With 5 or more key spheres obtained, 70% defense when receiving an attack, and then extreme class enemies get 20% attack and defense debuff. Then with 7 more key spheres, he's guaranteed critting and getting another 70% defense when receiving an attack. If there's a superclass enemy, superclass allies get key 2 and 50% attack and defense. Then if it's an extreme class enemy, it is a 2-turn 50% support buff. And if there's 2 Super Saiyan Blue character on the team, he does have the ability to have a Scouter. So this character would be having 2.5 mil defense with 10 key spheres. He would be doing 104 million, but being fair, he has no additionals. I think this would be really good. I would probably still say I wouldn't expect him to hit this hard necessarily, but still, Because, well, we have Tex and Shenron doing more damage than this anyways. This is fine. I think this is good, though. Yeah, because you'll see the flat 100 mil attack stat and think that's really crazy damage, but it kind of isn't super crazy at this point with the characters we've gotten during this celebration. So I actually think this is somewhat realistic. Funny enough, it just that it seems like there's so much numbers, but based on this with 10 key spheres, just 100 mil right there, I don't think there's any support factored in, but I'll take that. So Tech Fusion Zamasu, 260% attack and defense. I might have to open this. 260% attack and defense. Superclass allies 6% attack and defense down. Then superclass enemies 30% attack and defense down. Extreme class allies 50% attack and then 50% in addition to Realm of Gods. And 20% damage reduction. With each attack received, 60% attack up to 300%. Then with each super attack received, 100% attack. It seems like that's permanent, I assume. Yeah, with each one. So when receiving an attack, 10% damage reduction per key sphere obtained, up to 60%. Okay. And then 200% defense, which is quite a lot. So he can get 80% damage reduction. Basically like Tao. And then against super attacks, he has 90% damage reduction. Wow. 200% attack when attacking, and then for extreme class ally attacking in the same turn, 80% attack. When all allies are extreme class in the same turn, changes key spheres randomly to tech, guaranteed crits. Against a future saga enemy, he changes int key spheres to rainbow key spheres, and if he's facing 2 or more enemies, he'll launch a guaranteed additional super attack. So this guy is doing 70 mil supers. And then with Rose's actives, he does 90 mil supers. And he's sitting at 861k defense, but he has 90% damage reduction, which is really strong. And then with the double Rose actives, he's sitting at 1.3 mil defense, basically. Looks good to me. If he would be like this, like I do like these concepts again. Don't really care. You just want Angel Super 17s to be good. You don't know, but you hope they don't give him a mediocre balanced kit with some support slapped on it. And then the stats locked behind final blows. Immune to negative effects. Actually, that would be really good. I feel like these two being immune to negative effects. Oh, this is the wrong character. Trunks being immune to negative effects makes sense to me with his kind of what's going on there. This guy being immune to negative effects, he's healing a lot, so I could see that. Make them viable in Special Battle 1 to 2. Crucial defensive abilities locked slot 1 or 2. High chance to foresee supers. Super effective and top crits. So this is just like all the things that Mega Knight doesn't like in characters. We'll read this right here. So superclass enemies and allies 40% attack and defense down. Realm of Gods 30% defense and 30% defense if they're extreme class. Zamasu in the name or all allies are extreme. 160% attack when attacking and then 160% defense on hit. Then reduces damage received by 20% per extreme class allies up to 80%. Loses up to 60% damage reduction and with each turn that passes and 30% attack. After 5 turns, 40% reduction. And then 180% defense when Resume gets super. And then if there's no super class allies, guards, I assume? Is that what it is? Okay. Okay, well, I'm probably going to end it here. The OC just ended, so that means that I've probably been yapping for nearly 25-30 minutes at this point. But let me know what you guys would like to see from these two potentially getting super EZAs in the future. I think that it's something to keep in mind, but we'll wait and see. Thanks y'all for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.